Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is June 26, 2025, and the situation is intensifying between Barcelona and Athletic Club de Bilbao as both clubs have exchanged statements in regards to the meeting between Nico Williams' club and La Liga. Also, a new club has joined the race for Mark ter Stegen, and finally, there's current interest from the Premier League in a specific Barcelona midfielder. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and we'll begin this video with the news that the situation is heating up between Barcelona and Athletic Club de Bilbao after both clubs shared statements or exchanged statements in regards to the meeting between Nico Williams' club and La Liga. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I explained this during yesterday's podcast, but Athletic Club de Bilbao's president, Jon Uriarte, has traveled to Madrid in order to meet with Javier Tebas and representatives from the Royal Spanish Football Federation to try to block the move of Nico Williams to Barcelona, because Jon Uriarte states that since Barcelona are not under the 1-1 rule, both La Liga and the Royal Spanish Football Federation should scrutinize Barcelona's finances and block the move of Nico Williams if Barcelona cannot prove financial ability to go through this operation. Now, after the news broke that Jon Uriarte was going to be traveling to Madrid to do this, Joan Laporta released the following statements, or this is what he said in front of the mics. We don't have bad relations with Athletic. In recent years, there have been a series of misunderstandings and incidents, but I don't think that's why Barca can be said to have bad relations with Athletic. In this case, in this sense, I don't understand it, because the reactions that they are having, with all due respect, everyone should focus on their own thing. So in other words, mind your damn business. I don't understand Athletic going to talk about Barca to La Liga. I don't think it's appropriate, but they will know what they are doing. When in doubt, we are working to be in the 1-1 rule, which in fact, we were in the winter market. All the steps have been taken to be able to sign normally, and that we are not financially intervened by fair play. At the moment, I think we can sign normally. Obviously, we have to comply with certain parameters, and we are doing so. With the fulfillment of these parameters, we will be able to sign the players we want to sign. So, Joan Laporta telling Athletic Club de Bilbao, with all due respect, mind your damn business. He doesn't understand why Athletic Club are doing this, and honestly, I don't either. Because A, it's none of their business. Whether Barcelona have the money to pay for the release clause, whether they don't, whether they have money to register the player, or whether they don't, that's not Athletic Club de Bilbao's business. Nico Williams has a release clause, and if Barcelona pay that release clause, that player will become theirs. Now, where does Barcelona get that money from? Whether they borrow it, whether they pay it from their own account, whether Joan Laporta robs the bank to pay it, that's none of Athletic Club de Bilbao's business. That's between Barcelona and La Liga, and it's the La Liga's job to figure out whether Barcelona have the financial fair play to register Nico Williams, which brings me to the second point. Whether Barcelona are under the 1-1 rule or not, it's immaterial to activating the release clause of Nico Williams, because what financial fair play prevents you from is registering a player. If you borrow €1 billion from a bank and go ahead and sign 100 players, but you don't have financial fair play margin, you won't be able to register those players. But you can still sign them. But of course, what's the point of signing them if you can't register them? So even if Barcelona are not under the 1-1 rule, they can still trigger the release clause of Nico Williams and bring him to Barca. Now, whether they register him or not, that's a whole different situation. But again, that has nothing to do with Athletic Club de Bilbao. That's between Barcelona and La Liga. And finally, Barcelona are not under the 1-1 rule. We know that. Everybody knows that. But they are expecting to be under the 1-1 rule starting July 1st, which is the beginning of the new fiscal year. And again, even if they're not, that doesn't stop them from triggering the release clause, because financial fair play prevents you from registering players, not from signing them to begin with. And finally, again, like I said, it's none of their damn business. Now, Athletic Club de Bilbao responded to Joan Laporta's statements by first confirming that this meeting did go through and then responding to the Barcelona president. And this is what this pathetic, mediocre club had to say. The club appreciates the willingness and clarity of the body that defends the interests of all clubs. Within the framework of the financial fair play, among other issues, FC Barcelona's ability to sign players was discussed. Athletic Club would like to thank La Liga for the willingness and clarity shown in the meeting held yesterday between both entities, which was attended by the president of both organizations, Javier Tebas, and the pathetic Joan Uriarte. The meeting was held in Madrid in response to a request from Athletic Club made within the framework of the compliance with the financial fair play. So this was the part confirming the meeting, and this is the next part will be where they respond to Joan Laporta. Among the issues discussed was FC Barcelona's ability to sign players, given Athletic Club's legitimate interest in accessing the corresponding information after FC Barcelona sporting director Anderson Luis de Souza, Deco, publicly acknowledged that they will try to sign a player from our first team. This player has a valid contract with Athletic Club until June 30th, 2027. Minding our own business is ensuring that the rules of the competition are followed. Yeah, okay. Deco's statements were followed by the public statements made by FC Barcelona's president Joan Laporta himself, admitting that the Blaugrana club is working to be within the 1-to-1 rule and therefore is not currently within the parameters of said rule for registering players. So, Athletic Club de Bilbao confirming that this meeting did indeed take place between Joan Uriarte and Javier Tebas to discuss Barcelona's finances, and then saying that it is their business because, it's their business to make sure that the rules of the financial fair play are being complied with. Really? Because nobody's buying that bullshit. Because if you really are there because you're so worried about the financial fair play, why didn't you ask about, Real Betis, Valencia, Getafe, all these other clubs there also having financial fair play problems? You didn't ask about any of those clubs, right? But you did ask about Barca. So is it really because you're so worried about the rules, or is it because you're upset that Barcelona are about to sign your player? Which, by the way, that's football. That's life. You can't keep every player. We couldn't keep Messi, our greatest player in our history. Deal with it. Learn to deal with it rather than go crying to La Liga and in the process looking absolutely pathetic, because that's what Athletic Club Bilbao are currently a pathetic crybaby club. And shame on you for doing this to your own fans, by the way, who, if I was a fan right now, I'd be highly disappointed that the president of my club is using the club's money to fly to Madrid to make us all look pretty pathetic. But anyways, on to the next bit of news, because ladies and gentlemen, there is a new club that has joined the race for Mark ter Stegen. Now, before we talk about that club, right now, English press are confirming that both Chelsea and Manchester United are seriously considering the German goalkeeper. In the case of Manchester United, they're looking to replace Onana, who has been an absolute disaster for them. And in regards to Chelsea, well, they are in the game of collecting players, because it's not a transfer window unless Chelsea signs 100 players. But now there is a new club that has joined the race for ter Stegen, and that club is Monaco. And it looks like this came up during the conversations between Monaco and Barcelona in regards to Ansufati. So when both clubs were discussing the transfer of Ansufati, the name of ter Stegen came up. And in fact, Monaco even reached out to ter Stegen's agent to see, hey, would you be interested in coming to the Ligue 1 club? Now, for now, ter Stegen, of course, is denying leaving anywhere. He stated that nobody from the club has talked to him. He has a contract. His plan is to fulfill that contract. So for now, ter Stegen is not looking to leave. Of course, we do have that conversation pending between him and Flick, where things could change if Flick tells him, look, sorry, but we do not count on you. Now, speaking of Monaco and Ansufati, the deal is done between all parties, and Ansufati will be joining Monaco on a 1-season loan with an option to buy for around 11 or 12 million euros at the end of next season. And Barcelona will retain a buyback clause worth 28 million euros in case they do want to re-sign them in the future. And this is the big one, but Monaco will cover half of the salary of Ansu. Of course, that was the biggest obstacle in these negotiations, where Monaco were not willing to cover even half of the salary of Ansu. And of course, Barcelona were opposed to that. So Ansu Fati ended up extending his contract from 2027 till 2028 with Barcelona. That way reducing his salary because it's split over more years. And now that his salary is lower per season, Monaco will be able to afford half of it, so half of a lower salary of Ansufati will be removed from Barcelona's books, and that's of course a huge help for Barcelona's financial fair play, which by the way is still none of Athletic Club de Bilbao's business. Now we will end today's video with the news that Arsenal are looking to sign Casado. They're right now finalizing the signing of Subimendi, someone they've been after for a very long time, and it looks like their next target is Casado. They're very interested in him, but of course, as you know, Barcelona are not looking to sell Casado. Hansi Flick considers him an essential part of his plans, and of course, Casado wants to stay at Barcelona. Anyways, that is all the news for this video. We'll be uploading another video, so stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, Visca Barça.